if you don't speak up, right? If you don't actually lend actual evidence to that hope that Trump doesn't speak for all of America, if you just go along with it, then it becomes true, right? And so I wish more Republicans would speak up. I wish more conservatives would speak up. I wish they would. They don't have to necessarily have to say, I was wrong about Trump and he's a horrible person, but they just have to say, look, there are good guys and bad guys in this story. And the tests are so small. I mean, it's something it's a very Orwellian sort of Stalinist kind of thing where you force people to lie. That's the key, right? You make them lie, and then you kind of own them. And so forcing people to lie about whether or not they think Russia started the war is just a way to signal that truth will not save you, right? That you cannot tell the truth, you cannot have the courage of your convictions and speak honestly. And that creates an environment that I think makes it easier for people, the ones that are really frustrating you, and I know lots of people just like the ones you're describing, to convince themselves, right? I mean, one of the reasons I ultimately left Fox was that I was basically not allowed to criticize Trump on air. Now, no one told me that. I was just never asked a question where my whole thing is I don't lie, right? You ask me a question and I'll answer honestly. So if you only ask me questions about what I think of Nancy Pelosi, and you never ask me what I think about Donald Trump, it'll sound like I'm on board. And the way Fox operates, the way the most of the MAGA echo chamber operates, and the Republican Party now operates, is that silence is taken as approval and consent, and you create an environment where breaking that silence gets punished. And
the case you just referenced is even stranger and in some sense more depressing than that. I mean, I agree with you that Trump and authoritarians generally put up a series of loyalty tests, and you fail them at your peril, at least political peril. But in this case, his claim that Ukraine started the war, I don't know if you noticed this, but this is it struck me this way at the time, and then I heard John Podhoretz on the Commentary podcast say that this is how it struck him. And so when Trump said that Ukraine started the war, it was almost like he misspoke, and he couldn't, and then he just couldn't take his foot out of his mouth, and he just doubled down. He doubled down on it, and then everyone was forced to insist that the emperor has clothes. Right. After that. But it's like he actually wasn't making the claim in any kind of straightforward way that no, history is other than you think it is. Ukraine actually started the war. He was sort of riffing. He was saying, you've been fighting for 3 years. You shouldn't. You should have put an end to it. You shouldn't have started it. And he sort of blurted out the phrase, "You shouldn't have started it," and was anchored to it. And then you watched the ripples through the epistemology of the Republican Party, where people had to figure out how to construe that utterance as anything other than delusional.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. John's a good friend of mine. I think he's right about that. I mean, there's a dynamic. There's that old joke about how you never want to be the first person to stop clapping when Stalin enters the room, right?
There was that. It might be apocryphal. I don't know if it was Solzhenitsyn, or I think it's from the Gulag Archipelago. But there's a story of like people clapping to the point of just excruciating pain, like clapping continuously for 20 minutes, and the first person who stops was actually killed. Right? I mean, that's yeah.
And so again, we're not there. But that's the emotional temperament that we're kind of talking about. I mean, I'll give you just very small anecdote about this. You may probably don't even remember, but very early in his first term, he butt tweeted something. Kofefe, right?
Yeah.
And it was it was obviously just like a stupid typo butt tweet kind of thing. And I made some jokes about it in a column or something. And one of I can't remember if it was the Federalist or National Greatness, but one of those sort of turd polishing, Trump is great in all things, wrote an entire piece condemning me for not understanding that it was possible that what Trump was really doing was tweeting a message to the persecuted people of the Middle East that he was on their side and that they should rise up, because Kofefe is only a couple letters off of some word in Arabic
Yeah.
that would, and it's like,
Yeah.
the work, you guys are going to give yourselves hernias trying to make his, it was like the Sharpie thing with including Alabama and the hurricane, and everyone, oh, he was right. It's like, you're not doing him favors politically. I mean, forget characterologically, that ship has sailed, but like, if you surround yourself only with people who think every brain fart is brilliant, when you actually do something stupid or wrong, that's very scary, because no one's going to have the courage or the political muscle to say, Mr. President, back off on that. And in an environment where everybody is told that the first test, I mean, like the job interviews for a lot of positions in government, you are asked who won the 2020 election. And if you answer wrong, you don't get the job, or you get fired, or you don't get promotion, or whatever. And if you answer wrong to the question, one of the other questions that's been reported was, who were the real patriots on January 6th?
Right.
He wants a government full of people who either are so lacking in integrity that they're willing to lie about those kinds of basic fundamental things, or so deluded that they actually believe the correct, quote unquote, correct answers. Either way, it's just no way to actually run a government.